of music and gaming. My name's Robert Kroll. I'm the project lead on this particular initiative, working with a fantastic team of which I want everyone to introduce themselves shortly. Primarily, this project is about getting game developers, game engineers, work with music producers and creative technologists to merge into groups to test two products. The first product I'd mention is from Reactional Music, who have a reactive music plugin for Unreal Engine and Unity Engine, where you can create a game and use the game's animations and graphics to change the dynamic of music within the game to enhance the user experience. Okay, so that's one of the tools that we'll be testing. And then the second tool, and Max obviously correct me if I'm wrong, is to test Salsa Sound's Unreal Engine plugin, which allows you to create spatial audio by mixing of that spatial audio, okay, to enhance the gamer user experience. All right, that's the summary. We're going to get into it, but what I'd like us to do is just literally spend 10 seconds just introducing ourselves, if that's okay. If anyone's too shy, then I'm completely fine with you not doing that and just basically typing it in the chat. But if we start with myself and the team, okay, my name's Robert Kroll, so I'm project lead of this, and basically the reason why I feel really blessed to be part of this, because I feel like there's a gap in the market that we could really expand and share and provide greater access to this generation and next generation to improve the user experience and the human experience. So if we could go with Jonathan and Arpan next.
Good evening, I'm John and I'm working at MIDTEA as a program manager and doing oversight primarily on the secondary grant projects, including Salsa Sound.
Hi all, I'm Arpana. I also work at MIDTEA as a comms officer. I'm also an immersive technologist, so I'm also excited to be part of this project. Yeah.
So people just jump in if they want. I'm not going to nominate people, but I want everyone to introduce themselves.
Sure.
Go on, Matt.
Crossfire. Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to be here. Nice to meet you all. My name's Matt Svenlove. I'm a audiovisual artist from London. I create audiovisual performances and installations. Use various different creative technology platforms to do that, including Unreal Engine. I've used Unreal to do sort of generative graphics and sound, digital twins of installation spaces, and quite a bit of work with MetaSounds, actually, the Unreal's procedural audio platform. I wrote the tutorials for Epic for that initially, and I've been developing a synthesizer and a sort of color organ thing based on those systems.
Fantastic. Thank you. Next.
I'll go.
On, Steve.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Steve Moyler. I'm the founder and creative director of Immersify. I do everything from traditional filming, which I've been doing today, with Noel in AIX spatial audio. And we had a little bit of touch designer going on there as well today. And I also do DOP work in Unreal Engine and virtual production. So I see things from both sides. So what interests me is music video content with this, and visual content with this, and all the that come along with it. So I can't wait to get stuck in with you guys.
Sabit.
Okay, next.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you go.
Stephen, then Chris.
Okay, I'm Steve. I wrote a twin stick music-driven shooter called Beat Hazard, which is currently in its third version. So basically, any music you can throw at the game, it will react to it and shoot along with the music, and can do all sorts of stuff now. And I've been working on that for about 15 years on and off now.
That's fantastic. Chris?
Hello, my name's Chris. I also go as my artist name, which is Merlo. I'm a freelance musician as well as a visual artist and a game developer. And I'm currently working on my own game at the moment, which kind of combines a lot of my musical output as well as my visual work and world building.
Thank you, Chris. Fantastic. What a team. Who wants to go next?
I can go if that.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm the lead developer at Sounds of Sound. We make the Audioverse plugin, which I'm going to tell you about in a little bit.
Fantastic. And really happy for that you were on the project and that we're all going to be testing it and having a lot of fun breaking your tool.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Who's next? Don't be shy. Is that you, Zen?
Shall I?
I think I have to press a button, don't I?
Better quiet.
Right, Zen next. And then
is
Glenn.
mine working now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yours is
all right.
working.
Do you want to go first, Glenn?
No, fire away. It's all good.
So, my name's Zen. Welcome, everybody. I'm an audio engineer, product designer, and I've been making interactive music and music installations for like 25 years now. I do products, installations, and a bit more esoteric work, which we can talk about more in person.
Fantastic, Zen. I've seen your work. It's amazing. I'm looking forward to your new project as well. Glenn, pleasure to have you.
Well, mine's going to sound really turn off. I mean, my mic's on. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I never know with this thing. Yeah, I'm a music producer, DJ, remixer, an artist myself, and I do a lot of film score stuff. I remix cues and use a lot of stems and things for big movies and whatnot. So yeah, that's my side of things, really, coming from that angle, really. So I'm really excited to see what this thing can do with all that stuff.
Happy days. I'm really glad that you're on the project, Glenn. Really, really happy, buzzing. So I think we've got Stanley, I think's put something in the chat, and then we've got Henry. So Henry, did you want to go next? And I'll just read out Stan's.
Who? Hello?
Hi, Henry.
Hello, I'm here, but my camera doesn't seem to be working, which is annoying. Hello, everyone. My name's Henry. I am working as a producer with Robert and everyone else at the Media City Immersive Hub End. My own background is as a creative technologist and a researcher. I've recently left BBC Research and Development after 8 years, but sort of alongside the research side, I also have an artistic practice where I help artists with sort of technically ambitious projects get them done. So yeah, that's me. I'll be for the purposes of this project, I'm going to be there to sort of aid and assist all of you.
And I would say, Henry, Arpana, and Jonathan, it's been amazing being part of the team. I've only been part of this team for literally like 2-3 weeks, but I've really, really enjoyed it. So I'm really grateful to learn from all of you. And then Stan, who we met, he said his signal's pretty bad, but he's basically a narrative games. He makes narrative games and formerly worked at Supermassive Games, making cinematic horror games in UE5. So extremely exceptionally talented bunch. But Darius, I think you haven't said nothing yet, so you ain't getting away with it.
Evening, everyone. My name is Darius, and I own Studio 88, and I do a bit of audio engineering, music production, talent development, and events and radio. And I think this is a really exciting project to be a part of and kind of evolve, you know, my own experience in, and, you know, develop some great stuff for you guys.
And then lastly, we've got July, and thanks for that, Darius. Really, really, really glad that you're part of the project. July 7, you there? July? I don't think you can hear me. So we're going to crack on. So basically, the purpose of the project I've already explained. And to do that, pleasure to meet you guys on my desktop, so no camera and microphone. No worries, July. Completely fine. Completely fine. Just a bit about July, though. July is a performing artist who's also a producer who also plays 8 instruments. He's had some syncs. He's had some songs that done really well. And again, he wants to find out more about this, and he's used to producing multi-channel kind of formatted music for sync. So he's really looking forward to working with you all. So we've set up this webinar really to meet Max and Salsa Sound to find out what the tool actually does and how it works. At the social on Wednesday from 4:30 till 7, we'll have like demonstrations as to what that actually looks like in person from Max, and then online from Reactional Music. And then the hack day actually happens on the 5th of March, next Wednesday, from 10 till 5. And you'll all have an opportunity to use the tools to work together to integrate your music with these tools in Unreal Engine. And we'd like you to bring games that you're working on, music that you're working on. I'll be designing a consent form about the intellectual property that it stays with every individual that brings it to them. And if any collaborations happen thereafter, then those are personal or professional agreements that you will have. The purpose of it is really to create some teams that work together on that particular day to produce a level of work that we're not confirming today, but we are working behind the scenes to work with Doc 10, where we can create an immersive live performance with the work that's been created by you guys, especially the ones that are the most progressed. There might be 1 or 2 groups that get that opportunity to perform at Doc 10 at HQ1 in front of an interactive screen with a spatial audio set and a live performance. So that's what we're currently working on. Just finally, there are 2 development days on the 3rd and 4th of March, and that'll be at Host, and further information is coming out after the webinar, which will happen on floor 3, where we have our games 365 kind of unit, where all of you will be working together either on the computers and kit that we provide, or you're free to bring your own kit that you can work with to develop this music and games and test the Salsa Sound and Reactional Music software. So you can ask questions after this quick presentation from Max, and feel free to ask any questions at any point in time. But that's it for me from now, and then we continue with the questions after Max. So Max, take it away.
Okay, let me just work this out. I've got to present on another machine. Okay. Does that look right?
Go on. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Put your thumbs up, some kind of reaction. I can see that. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. Yep. Hi, everyone. As I said, I'm Max. I'm the lead developer at Salsa Sound, and I'm going to be telling you about our Audioverse product, which you're going to be playing around with in the music hack, and a little bit about the company. So we make automated live audio mixing software, primarily for sports broadcasts, but also kind of for more general broadcasts as well now. We've been on a couple of projects over the last couple of years where we've seen productions being done in game engines. And we've had this problem for all of those projects where we can't get live multi-channel audio into the game engine to use. You can do it for single channel, but as soon as you kind of go up above one channel, you just can't do it. That's in Unreal and Unity. And yeah, we've seen these productions be like the BBC studio for both of the last 2 Olympics was done in Unreal Engine, and all those Fortnite concerts which have been going on, like, are examples of productions which are happening in game engines. So we worked on the MITI project to create a solution for this. So we've built a Unreal Engine plugin which allows for multi-channel live audio to be sent into Unreal, and we're going to target Unity as well later on. So you can send that audio from an application like a DAW, like Reaper or Logic or whatever, or just straight from a hardware audio device with our Mixer application as a bridge between the two. So it's really easy to use. You get like an ASIO audio driver, which just works as a send. So that kind of can be used from any bit of software which is an ASIO host. And then you get the plugin as a kind of bit of code which sits in your Unreal Engine scene, and then you can set it up really easily. So we've also kind of based all this work on a broadcast industry audio standard for like transmitting audio across networks. So we've kind of got like a reliable backbone to this, because if it's going to be used in any sort of live production, then it's got to, it can't go down. And we've got to know the latency. So it's got a 6 millisecond latency on it. So I can show you how you set it up. So this is Reaper, which is, some of you probably know it. It's a DAW for just working with audio. So we've got 8 channels, each with an audio track on it. And in our audio device settings, we've just got Audioverse 16 channel output set up as our output device. So you get access to 16 channels. You can also have a 2-channel one, a 32-channel one, or a 64-channel one. But we could theoretically push that up even further. And then all those channels are routed, all these tracks, sorry, are routed to those channels. So that kind of populates the audio stream. You can get, audio onto this stream ready to go into the game engine. And then in Unreal, you can pick that up by, in your scene, you have an Audioverse manager and an Audioverse input. And then once you've got those, you've got the audio stream in the game engine as a block 16 channel kind of audio loopback, well, an audio callback sort of thing. And then it's up to you what you do with it. So what we're doing here is we're splitting off those 16 channels and putting them as synths in the scene, all in different positions. So the idea is the 16 channels come in, and it's a live recording of a band, and you can walk up to the instruments, and they're kind of spatialized. So as you get closer, that instrument gets louder, and as you get further away, it gets quieter, and you kind of get the head tracking and things like that with it. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You could do something like send a 5.1, mix, and have that play just non-spatially, static to the user's position. Yeah, so it's nice and easy to set up. There's a little bit of code involved sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily have to be. So yeah, what's really cool about this is it also allowed us to solve another problem we've had with in some projects in the past, which is loopback audio. So this is one application's audio to another application. And it's usually pretty easy to do this on Mac, and you're kind of able to do it on Linux. But on Windows, it's always been really hard, and we've always had loads of problems because it's something we're trying to do quite often. But because we kind of built this ASIO driver, we sort of got that for free just by extending it a little bit further. So as well as doing app to game engine or device to game engine, you can also do app to app. And that just looks like this. So where you have your output, you've also got your input, and that will just pick up anything, from which has been put on that output stream. But the output device also works as like a local loop back as well, so you can get the input on it. So if I play, you can see those channels are going out, they're going onto the stream and then coming back in and coming in there. So you get that kind of loop back for free, which is really nice and something we're really happy that we've been able to make. So yeah, those are the two kind of things, which is Audioverse at the moment, even though I think it's going to be extended to Unity, and we want to extend it to Mac and Linux at some point somehow. But yeah, a couple of points. It's very new. We've only been developing it in the last kind of couple of months, or last 6 months, I think. So it might break. It will probably break. But I'm going to be around. I'll be around remotely for the 2 days before the hack, and I'll be in person on the day. So if there's any questions or bugs or anything, let me know and I can fix them. Yeah, we're really excited to see what's comes out of this, and thanks to Robert and Mitty. And yeah, are there any questions? Yes, Matt.
Hi, Max. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was just wondering, on the rendering side in UE, are you using the built-in binaural renderer, or does it send, like I've used the Atmos plugin, which sends the Atmos stream right out to whatever endpoint you've got, and you need obviously some software on your actual computer to then render that down into whatever you're going to do with it. So yeah, just the question is, what's the flow of the last bit of audio after it comes into UE?
Once it gets in there. Yeah, so you can kind of you just get the rendering engine from Unreal for free.
Yeah.
So here with these kind of mono channels, all the rendering to do with spatializing that relative to the listener is just handled by Unreal. But I guess you could, put on something more if you wanted. It just comes in. You literally get the audio as a block. So it's it's up to you what you do with it once it's in there.
Okay, so you don't need any other software to do the rendering. It just hooks into Unreal's existing pipeline. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly. I saw a question in the MIDI in and out. It can't handle MIDI at the moment. But so would that be MIDI as a data stream? I guess both. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with MIDI. I guess if it's like a data stream, it wouldn't come in. If you can get it on like a normal audio pullback as a normal ASIO device, then you could get it in, I think. But it would be up to you to do that, transformation. Cool. Were there any others?
Please put your hands up if you've got any questions, and this is the time to ask questions as well. We've got Henry here, who's a creative technologist, who can also answer any questions regarding this. Matt Spenlove.
Yeah, so there's another one. I'm just wondering what the implementation is on the UE side. Are you piping into MetaSounds, or is it a completely custom native thing that it goes into?
Yeah, it's completely custom. So I think if you wanted to put it into MetaSounds, you could. It just feeds it as like just raw data. So you get like a block of, I think it's usually 512 samples for each 60 of the 16 channels. and then it's up to you what you do with that. I've put in some kind of helper things to make it so that if you want to, you don't have to do any coding, because I think a lot of people don't like coding, but yeah, also you can take it further and do some coding with it and push it as far as you want.
Thanks.
Great questions, Matt, by the way. Any other questions? Please do ask questions.
I've got one.
Go on, lad.
It's more in terms of like what the output is that you want from this. Like for me, I'm quite visual, so I'd be looking to see what I could attach to each one of these things to also drive it visually. So could you use something like Emberjet?
What is Emberjet?
It's a procedural particle emitter which you can create fire and flame and smoke, and it would drive. I'd be curious to see if I could attach elements of that to each element of what you've got there and see if it could work tandem.
Like a big visualizer. That'd be really, really. Yeah, I think we don't really know. I mean, what we've used it for in the past, or what our idea is like a very broadcast kind of focused idea, just literally about getting audio in so that it can be used in a production. But it's really interesting to, have a think about how you could use it to maybe interact with the scene differently, or to visualize things differently. But that's not really, we don't really know much about that. That's why it's such a cool opportunity to have it be used here.
I think in regards to that, Henry's put in the chat, and I agree that is something that Reactional may be able to do in their tool. And Henry's going to talk more about the Reactional tool set after we finish with questions here.
I think I'll probably just throw in at this point that there is another tool set we'll be using during the hack, which is Reactional Music, which again, I'll go into more detail about it in a bit, but it's Reactional Music that is the thing that we'll be doing sort of composition, generative, adaptive soundtracks, and it also generates events from the music that it's playing. So if you're thinking about things that are sort of driving visualizers, or you're thinking about music that's kind of responding to changes in Unreal Engine, all of that sort of stuff is more suited to the Reactional toolset, which is the other toolset we'll be using on the day.
Thank you, Henry.
You answer some of the other questions about MIDI and stuff as well. Like the Reactional toolset is much closer to that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Henry. That's really, really useful and helpful. Zen's got another question. Is there any data processing, or is it purely raw? An FFT would be handy.
There isn't any processing like that put in, but I think you could, if you wanted to do some coding with it, you could like easily use Juice or something to like take the audio data and get an FFT out of it. But we don't do any of that ourselves.
Okay, so maybe food for thought for the future for sure. Thanks, Max. Any other questions? Please do ask questions. Richard, I've just noticed you're here as well, but we'll go to Stephen Hunt, but I'd like Richard to introduce himself as well. So Stephen and Chris next.
I have my game. I let people stream from Spotify, and the way I've done it on Windows is it just fires off a browser with a Spotify link. You press play, and then the game just listens for the audio. And the big problem is, because the game is obviously going to react to the audio it can hear, if I play any explosions or in-game sound effects, they interfere with each other. My solution was only, and this really annoys people, but I only play sound effects in the right channel and listen to the left channel, which fixes the problem, sort of. But I've never, and lots of people told me there's maybe ways around this, but I've never figured out a way where you can grab audio from an app exclusively from the app and then blast something out the speakers. Now, it sounds to me that's what your software would do.
That's exactly the kind of thing, kind of use cases this would deal with. So in your, you would just have to put get your stream into that, into our audio driver, and then you could pick it up in the engine. But actually, you could use we've got this tool called Mixer, which allows you to pick up network streams, and then it will put it into this for you. So maybe that's probably the way to go with it.
Cool. That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty much exactly what it's designed for.
What a result! I think Chris is next. Hopefully that's answered your question, Stephen.
Thanks, brilliant.
Hello. Yeah, it looks great. I was going to ask about the implementation. I know we're focusing on live streaming and things that are coming in through a live link, but I was wondering, is this also would this also adapt if you wanted to, let's say, use things baked in like loops or like pre-made kind of things that you put into the game engine as opposed to streaming it in?
So for like audio assets in the scene.
Yeah. I know I've played around with Unreal with audio and stuff, and it's quite hard sometimes to get everything in sync and everything, and this kind of seems like it would do a good job of that. But I was wondering if this is just purely just for streaming in music.
Yeah, at the moment it's just for streaming in. We've kind of thought in the past about whether it'd be useful to stream stuff out, but I don't know if that's really a use case people would want. But yeah, I'm not sure it's quite the right thing for that. Yeah, because there's no like audio pipeline internally. It just kind of gives you the audio data to play with.
Okay.
Thanks for that question, Chris. So Matt Spenlover says if the thing you stream audio to in UE quacks like an audio component, you could spawn it from anything, e.g. Niagara or somewhere in your scene. July says this sounds great, and then Zen is basically saying it is something that people may want, Matt. So obviously that's something for further development, and you do definitely have to start somewhere, because you start with one idea, then you get another idea, and you've got to deliver something that is worth the value that you put all the time into. But this is all food for thought, and this is what this process is for. So all the feedback that everyone's given, because the specialists in the field, is really, really useful and really appreciate it. Jonathan?
I'd like to hear Richard Burkett introduce himself, please.
Yeah, I did ask for that. Richard?
Sorry, my audio is off. Hi, I'm Richard Birkin. I'm a composer and a creative technologist. I have worked on lots of music in the past, including like with orchestras and string quartets and bands. I've had syncs and things and worked lots in production music libraries. And then on the other hand, I've worked with I've been a user experience and digital strategy, creative strategy specialist, but prior to that, I worked for a kind of hybrid media company doing data-driven games, second screen apps, and lots of different experimental stuff, and which links to this. And then a friend of mine is the director of CG at the National Space Centre, and I've worked on a couple of spatial Unity prototypes with him for his more story-led projects. So yeah, really looking forward to bringing some audio and making some audio and hacking something together that's interesting.
Fantastic. You're currently at Innovate UK as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm working on the design and innovation ecosystem at Innovate UK. So plugging design and systems thinking into R&D and innovation projects.
Fantastic.
Having a bit of a rest from music at the moment. Well, writing and producing, but with no deadline in mind.
Sounds fun. Well, I think we've got there with Max. Is there anything else that you want to say, Max? And we'll
no, I don't think so. But yeah, thanks everyone. Looking forward to seeing what comes out of this. Really excited.
Great questions, everyone. So if we could move on to Henry, who will do a great job at telling us more about reactional music.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I just wanted to say a little bit about reactional music, which is the other tool set we'll be using during the Hack and Dev days. I'm just going to stick a link to it in the chat now. So it's a shame. So we were due to be having someone from Reactional coming to speak to us today, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. So I'm just going to sort of stand in briefly for them. They describe their product as composable procedural music and music personalization for a game. Essentially, it's a tool which allows you to compose music for Unreal Engine or Unity, and then in Engine be able to sort of tweak aspects of that music playback on the fly. So for instance, you could compose a piece of music which was the sort of general background theme for a game, and as you kind of walk down a corridor towards a firefight or something, you could bring in different voices in the music so that the character bit changed. You can alter the BPM in real time, stuff like that. It's rule-based composition. So effectively, as a composer, you can sort of define your key themes and your key sort of tracks, leitmotifs, whatever, and then you can alter them on the fly in the game engine. So yeah, that's the other tool. The other thing that it does as well is their playback engine itself can generate events in game. So a sort of very basic demo they give of that is they show, a fairly standard sort of Unity game walking through a space station or whatever, but you've kind of got sparks that are flying out of the walls in time to the music. You've got explosions that are going off at the right time. If any of you ever played the game Rez back in the day, there's another demo that they showed of sort of a game where basically everything that was happening in game was happening in time to the music track, which was just, it tickled my brain in very specific ways. It was great. The other thing that's going on with reactional music, so as well as being a source of events itself, so you can have things firing off in time, firing particle effects, whatever, you can also have it respond to events as well. So that could be events that are just happening within the game engine itself, so a position in space or a collision or whatever. But because it's running in Unreal Engine, then you can also have incoming events from real world sensors, which is where it starts to get really interesting. I saw another demo from Reactional Music where they showed a demo of one of their developers playing duetting with a clarinetist. The clarinetist was playing a real clarinet. The developer was just kind of waving their hands around in the air, and this was causing changes to happen in generative music that was playing back at the time. And this got me really excited because I started thinking about, well, what if we could hook up something like skeleton tracking cameras to Unreal Engine and then have like motion of dancers or motion of performers drive changes in music and drive changes in visualization. Like, that is something that I would quite like to try during the hack if we have time. But it's just sort of to give you the idea that the tool that we're getting from Reactional Music not only lets us compose music that can sort of change its characteristics in real time, but also those changes can be sort of driven by anything that you can plug into Unreal Engine, which is quite exciting to me. And also, yeah, because the sort of one of the key concepts of reactional music is that there's always this sort of beat match clock running in the background. Then you can use that clock to drive anything you like in your productions as well. So you can have all sorts of stuff happening in time to music, effects. They've used it to drive DMX lighting rigs in the real world, that kind of stuff. So I suppose this sort of, in complement to the stuff that Max has told us about and the sort of multi-track audio, the way that I'm kind of thinking about these two different tool sets is that the tool set from Salsa Sounds lets us do a lot of really advanced and interesting stuff with multi-channel audio, and obviously that kind of relates to spatial audio and stuff like that. But that's kind of very much to do with audio and audio routing and real-time audio and that kind of stuff. And then on the other side, we have the tool set from Reactional Music that lets us do this sort of compose this procedural, generative, adaptive music. So they're two quite distinct tool sets, but we might be able to use them together in interesting ways. I One of the are we allowed to talk about the extra bonus bit as well, Rob?
I think we will at the end.
There's also an extra bonus stretch goal, which I will keep under my hat for now. But Rob will say more if we're allowed to talk about it. But yeah, I just wanted to plonk that thought in your heads. Check out Reactional Music. I've put the link in the chat. Check out their tool set. Look at some of their demos on YouTube. That will kind of give you ideas of some of the stuff that can be done with it. And yeah, I mean, given the sort of the caliber of everyone that is on this call and will be coming along, I'm kind of really excited to see what everyone does with these tool sets. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Thank you so much, Henry. And you've explained that really eloquently, and even I'm more informed about that particular tool, and I've met with them as well to discuss it. So thanks for that. Has anyone got any questions for Henry, particularly on the Reactional Music tool? Please put your hands up.
Bear in mind, I'm not actually a developer. I'm just the go-between here.
Yeah. Just for clarifications, Matt.
Hi, Henry.
Nice to see you again. Hey.
Nice to see you. All
I was
right.
just reflecting on the fact that everyone I know in the call I haven't seen for a while has got much bigger beards than last time I saw you.
Yeah, bigger beards and slightly whiter hair.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I watched one of the demos of Reactional earlier, which was really cool, and they dropped the sort of Reaper project, so a pre-made sort of linear audio piece that was kind of soundtracking a certain aspect of the game, and they sort of dropped the Reaper project file into their middleware kind of standalone application, and then from there you were able to do the sort of adaptive procedural parts that you're talking about, with adding extra notes, manipulating tempo, and adding randomness and all that sort of stuff. But it wasn't immediately clear to me on that first viewing if what was going into the tool was audio, or if somehow the kind of MIDI data and the actual underlying instruments are somehow getting referenced by the middleware that they've built. So I don't know if that's more than you know or not, but I was just curious.
I can talk in an abstract, and then you'll be able to. So we will be joined by developers from Reactional for the social net. Is it the social on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hack day, there'll be online developer support.
Yeah.
For Reactional Music, but there'll be the chief partnership officer will be there on the actual day as well. So you'll have dev support on the day online, and then a representative from Reactional Music, and they'll be doing a live demo at the social online because they aren't able to attend in person.
Which is a long way of saying there will be more technical detail available on this. As I understand it, their tool allows for audio tracks. So let's say you're a producer and you've already got most of a track made and bounced down. You could sort of export maybe 50% of your track or whatever as audio, and then using their middleware, you can lay some extra tracks on top of it that are the more procedural, sort of data driven. I'm not sure if that data is specifically MIDI. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. But I think the idea is that their sort of middleware is a sort of hybrid between pre-baked audio files and also these kind of procedural elements on top of it. And I imagine you could probably mix and match those to whatever degree. So you could have stuff that was more procedural and had no pre-canned stuff in it, or you could just have stuff that was pre-canned and just being manipulated in fairly limited ways, because obviously if it's pre-canned you don't have access to any of the underlying note data or whatever. That's as far as I know now, but we can find out some more detail in time, certainly.
Yeah, that certainly looked like the really interesting part of it to me. It felt like they were kind of like, say, whatever synth plugins they'd used to make particular sounds, like string sounds or something, like if the middleware was actually referencing those as well, and just the kind of note data was going across. But the elasticity in what I was hearing sounded like it was the raw synth data getting manipulated, not sort of sample or audio baked data. But yeah, anyway, to be explored, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sorry I can't give you more detail, but we can figure it out.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks.
Zen has got something. The procedural sound generation presumably can be used for making music. Could we send that out via MIDI out? If Salsa Sound could send audio out to turn it into a DAW.
Yeah, let's build a whole door in Unreal Engine. Everyone, that sounds like a great
Why not? That sounds epic.
I don't know.
Back in a week.
I don't know if Reactional can actually send out MIDI data or not. That's another question for their devs. I'll pass that over and we'll find out for you.
Yeah, in relation to any other questions, if you do want to send them before the social or keep them for the social, because Max will be in person. So you'll get to meet Max. Max will be doing a demonstration again and a bit more in kind of conversational content on this, which is great. And Reactional Music will be online. We've got 12 more minutes. So before we kind of go into in a little bit of detail what is post this particular spatial audio reactive music project, has anyone got any more questions? It already happened. What do you mean, Matt?
I think Matt was just saying that someone's already got a door in Unreal.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant. That's
Exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Great job. Great job. Okay. Is anyone who's just a music producer, if they got any questions? Because I know that some of this might sound a bit kind of interplanetary for some people. So please, if you're a music producer and you've got any questions, please do ask them, or you can ask them privately via email, or like we'll all be there at the social. Please do come up to us and ask us any questions. Don't feel away about any of that. Zen said he's got his own as well. I love that. Right, so just to finish off, Henry and I just want to make a small announcement that Henry can go into a little bit of detail, but we can't confirm it in this call. But what we're working toward is an immersive performance hack as well later on in the week, and for there to be a live immersive performance using some of the work that's been developed in this project, which is exciting, and it will happen in the week beginning the 10th of March. Henry, did you want to expand a little more on that, just to give a bit more kind of meat on the bones?
I will. So yeah, this hack that we've been talking about so far, the one that's going to be happening on the 5th, is primarily going to be concerned with exploring these tool sets from Salsa Sound and Reactional. So it's going to be focused on sound and music, and it won't have that much. I mean, yeah, we will be building stuff in Unreal Engine because that happens to be the sort of the thing that sticks it all together, but we're not going to have so much of a focus on the visual side of things. However, in the following week, in the week of the 10th of March, we are working on getting access to an immersive stage setup in DocTemp. If that happens, it means we will have access to like a very big wraparound LED screen that we can display real-time graphics on, and there will also be an immersive audio rig of some sort in that space as well. We don't yet know the details of all of that. We're going to try and get this shaken down this week. But in theory, what this means is if we produce anything during this hack that would lend itself particularly well to having a stage performance built around it, then there's a very high possibility that we'll be able to arrange things so that the teams will have access to a stage rig and some technical support to try and take the stuff that they build during the hack through to this immersive stage performance, which would be incredible if we can pull it off. And we're going to be working very hard behind the scenes over the next couple of weeks to make that happen for you all. But it's all just to make you aware that although it's not because we can't confirm anything yet, it's not going to be the primary focus of the hack that happens on the 5th, but we do have this potential stretch goal here of actually taking it out to perform on a big immersive stage, which would be amazing if it happens. And if we do pull it off, you will all be the first to know, and we'll be working with you to try and move some of the things that you make onto that stage setup.
Thank you, Henry. More questions for that can come at a later date, and we'll be happy to answer them once we've got confirmation. Really looking forward to the social. The aim is to create teams our first instance is that we want that to happen organically. You've only just met each other, so it's going to take time, and we'll work our way up to that, up to next week. We will also be attaining licenses for the Reactional Music tool and for the Salsa Sound tool before the 5th. So our aim would be to give them out by the end of the week, but definitely by Monday, so that you all get to register and have a play with them together in your groups or teams, or even by yourself, so that you've got something you can actually use that's pre-prepared on the hack day, and collaborate as much as you possibly can on that particular day. And lastly, we've got access to a spatial audio studio that will be available for use from 5 o'clock on Monday, the 4th of March, 5 o'clock, Monday, the 3rd of March at 5 p.m., Tuesday, the 4th of March from 5 p.m., from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m., or maybe even longer if you decide to stay longer in the evening, and Thursday from 5 p.m. So we're also going to have access to a spatial audio studio where you can actually test your music in spatial audio format. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities and lots of possibilities, and we're really energized to be working with you all. So we're looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday. Chris says, could we maybe share each other's websites, portfolios to check it out before the social? Would love to see other people's work here. Great idea. I've got some of that information. If people want to write either in the chat or via email that they're happy for me to do that, then I'm happy to send that to all participants. Okay. So either put it in the chat or send it to me, and I'm happy to send it to everyone. As long as everyone's okay with their emails being shown as well, then that's completely fine with me and the team. Happy to do that for sure. And equally, you've got the opportunity on Wednesday to meet each other as well. I know Glenn, Richard and Steve, you're not, and Matt, you're not available because of the distance, but we are really looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday. And yeah, so I'm happy to send out everyone's portfolio as well, if it's not in this chat, for sure. This chat's also being recorded, so we'll be happy to send this to you all later on in the week as well. Probably before Wednesday, up on if we'll discuss that in our briefing meeting tomorrow, but we'll get this recording to you before the social on Wednesday if you'd like to watch back as well. Anyone have any questions at all? Anything they want to ask? No? I think that's good then. I think that's a job well done. And we've got 5 minutes to spare, so I'd like to give you all those 5 minutes back. Really appreciate you all attending at such short notice, and it shows such great commitment. And let's do something absolutely epic. From my own perspective, reporting on this project on behalf of the team, we do also want to see what commercial viability could possibly come out of a project like this, and what kind of team or group or community that could also come out of this to kind of explore what the commercial viability of this kind of product, services, and kind of group format could support future funding or investment, or just commercial marketing in different continents across the world. So that is something that I would love to consult with you all after the project to feed into that kind of scoping, and we'd really appreciate that. It's a really important part of this project, because immersive technology is amazing at the moment. There doesn't seem to be lots and lots of work done in the commercial viability of it. Some of it just doesn't look like it will make a commercial viability, but it's our aim and our view that is not the case, and that immersive technology is very vital and can improve the human experience, with the human being at the center of the creativity. So if that's something that you align with, like, we really want you to consult with us and to tell us what your thoughts are, or any insights that you have, to culminate in something that we would also report back to you. So it isn't something that we keep in house. We would report it back to further inspire any more commercial products in this sector. So thanks so much, guys and girls. Have a fantastic evening, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, or speaking to you later in the week, and seeing you next week. Have a lovely evening.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.